later in the nighttime, like not super late, but later, and we're sitting outside, and I'm trying to get their dog's attention, and he will not look at me. And I whistled because I guess I forgot where I was. I realized what I did, look over at my husband to see if anyone else heard what I did, and this man's face is pale. It was just floating closer. And then, mind you, my dog is still growling this entire time. For the next 5 minutes, that voice is just circling the fence line, going, hello, hi, hello.
Hello, my spooky friends, and thanks for tuning in to episode 65 of Your Ghost Stories, the podcast where we explore the unknown, the eerie, and the downright creepy. I'm your host, Jamie, and today we're heading into the heart of Appalachia, a region in the States steeped in rich history, haunting folklore, and countless unexplainable and supernatural tales. We'll even hear some first-hand accounts from locals a little bit later in the episode. But before we do that, I just want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for your incredible support. Your Ghost Stories is just over a year old, and we're currently getting around 10,000 organic listeners per month, which is mind-blowing. As most of you guys will know, Your Ghost Stories is a fully independent podcast, and the running and upkeep of the show are entirely funded by myself. To help me continue bringing you these fascinating weekly interviews and stories, Your Ghost Stories is now accepting donations via PayPal. Each month, 50% of all donations will go to a different and selected charity, chosen by you through a poll on our Instagram page on the 1st of each month. The remaining 50% will be used directly to help keep the podcast up and running and expand our reach through marketing. Your contributions not only help us to grow and continue to thrive, but more importantly, will make a difference in the world. You'll find a link to donate any amount of your choice in the description of this episode or via the website yourghoststoriespodcast.com. If you're not in a position to donate, I totally understand. Times are difficult for a lot of people right now, but if you still want to help support the show for free, you can do this by following the podcast on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to this podcast, or even better, by leaving us a kind review to help others just like you find the show. Thank you so much for your generosity and support.
Your Ghost Stories. Your Ghost Stories.
The Appalachian Mountains, stretching from Alabama to Canada, are not only a natural wonder, but also a hotspot for supernatural occurrences. These mountains have been home to Native American tribes, early settlers, and countless adventurers, each leaving behind stories that blur the line between reality and the other world. Now, if you've ever spent any time in the Appalachian Mountains or talked to the locals, you might have heard some peculiar advice. For instance, if you hear someone call your name, you never answer to it. Or if you see something in the woods, no, you didn't. It's very much a if you know scenario, where the unspoken rules are just as important as the spoken ones. Today, we're going to uncover some of these mysterious stories and legends that have been passed down through generations. So grab a seat, dim the lights, and together, let's journey into the unknown. Starting with one of the most famous phenomena in the Appalachian region, the Brown Mountain Lights. The Brown Mountain Lights are a series of ghostly lights reported near Brown Mountain in North Carolina. These mysterious orbs have been seen for centuries, floating and dancing above the mountain. No one knows exactly what they are or where they come from. Some believe they are spirits of lost Native American warriors. Others think they are reflections of car headlights or even gases escaping from the mountain. The lights have been subject of numerous studies and have inspired countless tales. Despite all the theories, the Brown Mountain Lights remain one of Appalachia's enduring mysteries. Next, we head to West Virginia, home of the infamous Mothman. First reported in the town of Point Pleasant in the 1960s, the Mothman is described as a large creature with glowing red eyes and enormous wings. Sightings of the Mothman were often followed by tragic events, the most notable being the collapse of the Silver Bridge in 1967, which resulted in the deaths of 46 people. Many believe the Mothman is a harbinger of doom, while others think it might be an undiscovered species or even an alien. The legend of the Mothman continues to haunt the Appalachian region and beyond. Moving south to Tennessee, we encounter the tale of the Bell Witch. In the early 19th century, the Bell family of Adams, Tennessee, reported being tormented by a malevolent spirit. This entity, known as the Bell Witch, would speak, move objects, and even physically harm members of the Bell family. The haunting was so intense that it caught the attention of future President Andrew Jackson, who allegedly visited the Bell farm and left in a hurry, declaring, "I'd rather face the entire British Army than spend another night with the Bell Witch." To this day, the story of the Bell Witch remains one of the most famous hauntings in American history. Another famous haunted location is the Greenbrier Ghost of West Virginia. In 1897, Elva Zona Hedster was found dead under mysterious circumstances. Her spirit allegedly returned from the grave to reveal her murderer. Zona's mother claimed that her daughter's ghost appeared to her, describing how she was killed by her husband. This ghostly testimony was so compelling that it led to the exhumation of Zona's body and the eventual conviction of her husband. Venturing back to North Carolina, we find the legend of the Moon-Eyed People. According to Cherokee legend, the Moon-Eyed People were a race of small, pale-skinned beings who lived in the Appalachian Mountains. They were said to be unable to see well during the day and thus only came out at night. The Cherokee eventually drove them out of the region. Some theories suggest they might have been early European settlers, or even a different Native American tribe. The mystery of the Moon-Eyed People adds yet another layer to the rich tapestry of Appalachian folklore. In 1952, the small town of Flat Woods, West Virginia, was shaken by a terrifying encounter. Witnesses reported seeing a strange, glowing object crash into the hills, followed by the appearance of a creature now known as the Flat Woods Monster. Described as being 10 feet tall, with a red face and green body, the creature emitted a foul odor that made witnesses sick. Despite extensive investigations, the true nature of the Flatwoods monster remains unknown, and it continues to capture the imagination of UFO enthusiasts and cryptozoologists alike. Another fascinating phenomena is the phenomena of ghost trains. In various parts of Appalachia, people have reported seeing spectral trains that appear and disappear without a trace. These phantom locomotives are often linked to tragic events and lost railway workers. One of the most notable is the Mako Light in North Carolina, where the ghostly lantern of a decapitated brakeman is said to still signal in the night. Lastly, we explore the legend of the Wampus Cat, a creature said to prowl the forests of Appalachia. According to the legend, the Wampus Cat was once a Native American woman who was cursed for spying on a sacred ceremony. Transformed into half-woman, half-cat creature, she now roams the woods, seeking revenge on those who wronged her. The Wampus Cat is often described as a large, fearsome feline with glowing eyes and an eerie howl. Whether viewed as a cautionary tale or a genuine cryptid, the story of the Wampus Cat is a fascinating part of Appalachian folklore. In the heart of Appalachia, whistling, especially at night, is steeped in superstition and considered an ill omen. Local folklore warns that whistling can attract unwelcome spirits or malevolent entities lurking in the dense forests and secluded hollows. According to old age tales, the eerie sound of whistles can summon the likes of the whistling wampus, or even the restless spirits of those who met untimely deaths in the mountains. This deep-rooted belief serves as a reminder of the region's rich and cultural tapestry and the respect for the supernatural that has been passed down through the generations. So when in Appalachia, it's best to keep your lips sealed and let the nature sounds of the wilderness prevail.
Your ghost story. Your ghost story.
We're now going to hear a first-hand account from Morgan Lambert.
So recently, my husband and I were chased by something in the woods of the Appalachian Mountains. And I pretty much already decided that I was not going to share this story on here. I didn't want to bring energy to it, and it's caused a spiral effect of other paranormal things to happen since it happened. So I was just going to let it go. But I got to thinking, I need to tell you guys this because this is literally the reason that I tell you guys the rules. Because all it takes is you to break a rule when one is close by, and this can happen to you. So here's the story, and here's what I did. It was my fault. So we were visiting my parents a few nights ago. They live on a pretty secluded farm surrounded by woods. So it's later in the nighttime, like not super late, but later. And we're sitting outside, and I'm trying to get their dog's attention, and he will not look at me. And I whistled, because I guess I forgot where I was. I realized what I did, look over at my husband to see if anyone else heard what I did, and this man's face is pale. So it's like we have a silent agreement to just pretend I didn't do that and act like nothing happened. There was an energy shift when I did it, but I honestly think it was just my anxiety. So anyways, we're all sitting out there, and then just out of nowhere, there is a scream
It's the most guttural scream I've ever heard. It sounded like a male scream, and it came from behind the house. So we were sitting on the front porch. It came maybe from the back porch. It was so close. So my dad's like, what was that? And I was like, probably nothing. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Just like trying to get him to shut it down and ignore it. But at this point, no one's having a good time out there. The energy is not the best. So shortly after this, my husband and I leave, and I tell my parents bye and walk out of the house before he does. So I walk down their front steps, and I'm walking down their pathway to get to my car, and something is wrong. Like I said, there's trees everywhere, and there's like a field with a bunch of trees to my right. And that is where this feeling is coming from. So I look straight ahead. I know I am not supposed to look to the side, and I get to the car, and as soon as I'm to the car door, I turn around because I hear my husband come outside. So I wait for him to make eye contact with me, and I do like this motion to tell him to like look straight ahead. And so he nods, and he comes to the car. He opens my door, gets me inside, and then gets in the car. So we give each other a horrified glance and an unspoken agreement to not talk about it right now, and we drive away. So you have to drive through a bunch of woods to get out of that area and back to my house. So I knew this was not going to be fun. The entire drive was horrible. We had all of our windows up, and not too far into the drive, we started hearing whistling. But it was my whistle. It was me. It sounded like my weird whistle that I did. So we're hearing this all around us through the trees, because trees are on both sides of this road. But the issue is, it sounded far away, which means that thing was close. So we keep our eyes straight. I don't look into the trees at all, and I just try to get out of there. This was not the first time I've been chased by this thing. The first time I didn't know, which made it a little less scary. This time I knew, and it was horrifying. And if you guys remember, a few months ago, I had a friend that had a weird experience as well. She was hiking with her family, and they saw something, and their car got chased. And I'm wondering if this was the same thing, because it was kind of in the same area. I did talk to her about it when I got home, and we're pretty sure it was the same thing. And all of this was started because I made the mistake of accidentally whistling for my dog when one of these things was too close. Don't whistle.
If that didn't give you the chills, then maybe this story from Ivy Brannan will do the trick.
So I'm sitting in their backyard, which has this tall fence all the way around it, and the wilderness comes right up to that fence. I'm sitting there around the campfire. My dog is laying beside me. I got my laptop open, and I'm writing my little stories. Suddenly, my dog lifts his head, stares straight ahead at the fire, doesn't even look around at the yard, stares straight ahead at the fire, and starts to growl. All dog owners know that your dog has different types of barks and growls. This was his warning growl. This is the growl he does when there is danger coming and he's telling it to back away. So immediately I'm like, buddy, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And then I hear a voice at the fence line. And it's not just any voice. It's the voice of a little girl. And it sounds like a creepy doll from a horror movie. It's got that kind of like mechanical quality to it. And it's kind of like muffled and garbled. I'm still getting the heebie-jeebies. And all it does is go, hello? Just like that. Just like that. Hi, just same tone and everything. Now, mind you, it's midnight. There are not going to be any little girls wandering the woods at midnight. So immediately I was like, well, this is either someone who's gonna me, or it's something else. And what made me think it was something else was the fact that the voice said again, hello? Only this time it had moved, and it had gotten closer, and I'd heard no footsteps. It was just floating closer. And then, mind you, my dog is still growling this entire time. For the next 5 minutes, that voice is just circling the fence line, going, hello? Hi? Hello? Hey? Like, just like that creepy doll voice floating around the fence line. And then suddenly my dog stopped growling. And he put his head down and he went back to sleep, and the voice stopped. I thought, okay, cool. That was weird. And then all of a sudden he lifted his head back up again and started growling. And then the sound of a ticking clock came from the bush directly across from me. Again, heard no footsteps, heard no rustling. Just a ticking clock started in the middle of the night, in the middle of the woods. So don't know what that was. I can't wait to go home today. And I don't see myself coming back here anytime soon.
Your ghost stories. Your ghost stories.
As we wrap up this week's episode, it's clear that the Appalachian Mountains are a tapestry of supernatural stories, woven together by centuries of history, culture, and the unknown. Whether you believe in ghosts or cryptids or unexplained phenomena, there's no denying the allure and mystery that the Appalachian region holds. Thank you for joining me on this journey into Appalachia. A big shout out to our listener Jane Hunter for researching and sending the ideas for today's episode. Your help is very much appreciated, so thank you so much. If anybody listening has any ideas, stories, or experiences they'd like to share, please feel free to reach out to us on our website, yourghoststoriespodcast.com, or find us on social media everywhere with the tag @yourghoststoriespodcast, or you can get in touch via email at yourghoststoriespodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your minds curious. Sweet dreams.